Let's get started. Welcome, everybody. I'm Bob Balfance, the director of the Everyone Graduates Center at Johns Hopkins. And today we're excited to share with you our learnings and some tools that have been developed from a project we've been working on in New Mexico, really working through and trying to figure out what does it take to put all students on a pathway to career success. Go to the next slide. How we're going to spend our time together today is we'll talk a little bit about the why. Why do we need a on track to career success framework? We'll go a little bit about what it is, and then we'll spend most of our team hearing from schools that have been pioneering this work, what they've been learning, what they've been doing, and how others can learn from what they've learned to help build this, enable all students to have pathways to career success. We'll share some resources, some good tools that have been developed over the years of this effort with working with our schools, and we'll end with some upcoming opportunities. All right, next slide. So the why. Why do we need a framework for on track to career success? Well, it's because traditionally high schools were not designed to provide all students with structured exposures to college and career options, to give them the hands-on experience and applications to help them figure out what they want to do, and then to give them good guidance so they can make informed decisions about where they go next after high school. And the reason why this is also important is that we live in a time when sort of family-sustaining wages and meaningful careers typically require some form of either post-secondary education or training. And right now, too many students are still graduating high school without a clear plan for adult success. So really this work of being on track to career success is about how do we create the framework to enable all students to have the opportunities and exposures and experiences they need to make those informed decisions and to have a good plan for how they go from high school to what comes next on a pathway to adult success. Next slide. Just to give you some background of who's been doing this work, the work over the past 5 years has been supported by the Annie Casey Foundation, which really focuses on strengthening families and communities and children so all young adults can succeed. And our Everyone Graduates Center here at Johns Hopkins has been the one sort of working with the schools and providing them support as part of our efforts to make sure all students graduate ready for post-secondary success. Now I'm going to turn it over to my dear colleague, Michelle Stearns, who will tell us a little bit about why we partner with New Mexico for this work.
Hi, everyone, and welcome. So New Mexico was the ideal choice for this partnership because both Johns Hopkins University and the Annie Casey Foundation have a long-standing presence here, and they've built strong relationships with the deep cultural understanding of our state, which we know is really important. New Mexico's made significant strides in improving our graduation rates by intentionally analyzing data to identify those trends, address gaps, and align statewide efforts that expand post-secondary options and student success pathways. Even though we're under the national average for our graduation rate, New Mexico has increased its high school graduation rate over the last 10 years. Our 2024 data indicated 78%, which was the highest in at least 15 years. New Mexico has also made a commitment to career pathways by aligning our statewide systems, leveraging our labor market data, supporting schools, and implementing programs that connect classroom to real-world experiences. The New Mexico Public Education Department has also required that all schools develop a profile of a graduate to guarantee that students are ready for post-graduation success. So basically, it's a promise to our communities. New Mexico's also prioritized closing those opportunity gaps by focusing on the needs of our rural, Indigenous, and our multilingual learners, ensuring that equitable access to those college and career options are available for our students. An example of that is through our University of New Mexico College of Education. They've launched a federally funded 5-year project that recruits and prepares and graduates early childhood and special education professionals for those rural and tribal communities that we're talking about. The project actually equips our future educators with not just the academic credentials, but cultural understanding that is needed for those settings. Collaboration is the heart of what we do in New Mexico, right? Bringing together schools, tribal nations, and communities and employers to create a stronger opportunity for our students. that is healthier and more connected to our communities. Our Career Pathway Alliance in New Mexico, funded by the New Mexico Public Education Department, connects schools with their local industries. For example, our energy, our healthcare, and our education. We expanded work-based learning and internship opportunities across those rural and tribal communities, and you'll hear about those from some of our pathways from one of our presenters today. New Mexico commitment to continued improvement is driven by evidence-based frameworks that empower schools to reflect, adapt, and design strategies that meet our students' evolving needs. That's done through our school's annual Dash and 90-day strategic plans that's required by the state. So schools are engaged in evidence-based cycles of reflection and action to strengthen their instruction, engagement, and college and career life readiness. So as you can see, New Mexico was the perfect partnership for this initiative.
Absolutely. All right. Next slide. All right. So just now a little bit, what is the On Track to Career Success framework? It's centered on the idea of collaborative designs about helping schools, communities, and employers to work together to support students from ninth grade through the post-secondary transition on a path to meaningful family supporting work. It's about ensuring that all students, especially those facing barriers, have the supports and opportunities needed for success. It creates a system of supports to do this that are grounded in real-time data, caring relationships, and purposeful career pathways. And as you're going to see today, it's at the heart of it, it is student focus. And it's really trying to promote this idea of agency, belonging, and connection as key drivers of academic and career readiness. All right. So when we put all that together and combine it with all of the insight and wisdoms of the schools we partner with in New Mexico, what we came up with was sort of four main elements that help schools put their students on track to career success. The first is this idea of actually creating grade level milestones, which are both academic, social, emotional, and college and career outcomes at each grade that when students meet, we know there's strong evidence that they're on a good trajectory to adult success. And for the On Track to Career Success, we both developed, talking to teachers and students across the country, some national milestones, and then those are customized and localized to fit the realities of the communities that are doing the work. And you'll hear some examples of that today. And you'll be able to we'll show you how you can access the milestones and when we get to the resource section. Then the next key thing is the idea of student success systems to make sure students are on track to succeed in school and through high school. And that we're building their internal capacity to sort of succeed by, increasing agency, belonging, and connectedness, which helps improve attendance and course performance. This idea of having multiple pathways to career success and really grounding them in community wants and desires and opportunities, and then making sure that all students, right, have a combination of experiences, explorations, and sort of doings in both the college and career pathways, right? So they actually get some multiple experiences in both to help them make that informed decision. And that finally, this work is really co-designed with students, and they really can help take the lead in shaping, like, what are those milestones? What are those experiences that would be meaningful? What are those supports that are needed to make sure that we're able to take advantage of those experiences and opportunities?
So
All right.
what's great about the OTCS framework, Bob, is that schools can really make it their own, right? Each school builds on its existing capacity and local strengths to bring the work to life. Through co-design, students, educators, and community members come together to shape what the system looks like in their context. Schools set up, like you heard Bob say, milestone tracking, success teams, and partnerships that make sense for their community. Let's look a little bit at the collaborative impact that we have been able to witness and be a part of. Next slide, Greg, please. So we've had the opportunity to really see Mark Armijo Academy grow their graduation rate. And that's been by 20 percentage points, which is large, but really important to this project also is they went from 0 to 60 internships and work-based learning opportunities. You're going to hear about that today. Our longest standing partner, RFK Kennedy Charter High School, we have been able to see them go from a last choice school to a first choice school, and we have a record number of students who have applied for and are attending college. They too increased their graduation rate by 16 percentage points. Our largest community partner is Grants Cibola County Schools. We work with 3 high schools, the Early College High School, Grants High School, and Laguna Acoma High School. Their graduation rate has remained steady. And Laguna Acoma has exited school improvement status in the 5 years that we've been a partner with them. They've increased their student leadership and agency throughout their whole school. So you'll hear a little bit about that. So if we move to the next slide, we'll talk a little bit about student impacts and the student design teams. When we first began partnering with our school teams, much of our focus was on the adults, the educators and leaders who drive the work, right? But we soon realized that one crucial voice was missing, and that was the students. So to change that, we launched student design team sessions, bringing together a diverse group of students from each school. We used liberatory design. We introduced them to the principles of human-centered design through hands-on activities and skill builders that focused on things like time management, organization, civic engagement, and community outreach. The results have been incredible. Students designed and led experience that elevated leadership and engagement to new levels. Working alongside adults, they've helped solve real challenges, improve systems, and create more opportunities for all their peers. All right, so as we move into highlighting the elements of the OTC framework, as we share this framework, it's important to see it in action. The framework is built upon several key elements. You heard us talk about co-design with students and community, grade level milestones, student success systems, and pathways to career success that connect learning to real world experiences. So each school brings its own strength and context to the work, making it very unique. Today, our teams are going to give us a closer look by presenting just a piece of their framework they've been working on, showing how these elements come to life to their schools. Today, we're going to hear from Mark Armijo Academy, how they turned an idea into internships, building work-based learning from the ground up. We're going to hear from RFK Charter High School, where students' voices shine and their choices come to life through capstones and digital portfolios. And last but not least, we're going to hear from students from our Grand Cibola County student design team and how they sought stakeholder engagement to inform their profile of a graduate. So without further ado, can we please introduce to you RFK Charter School? Lori and Cindy are here to share with us what they've done.
All right, I'm just gonna get my PowerPoint up here for you guys. Can everybody see that? Here we go. All right, so I am Lori. Can everybody see that? Yeah, okay. So I'm Lori Hickox Montoras, and I am the capstone teacher and the digital portfolio coordinator at Robert F. Kennedy Charter High School.
And I'm Cindy O'Neill. I'm the Student Success Coordinator here at RFK Charter School.
And we're going to talk to you today about our capstones and our digital portfolios and how they elevate student relationships, their choice, and their voice at our school. So just a very brief description of our capstone and digital portfolios. So both of them are project-based activities that are meant to be meaningful demonstrations of what our students know and can do. Capstones are a culminating project done in senior year that requires students to use the skills that they've acquired through their 4 years of high school and to put them to use addressing community issues. The digital portfolios are a collection. It's of the students' 4 years of work. They show growth. They are a showcase of the best work that the students have done, as well as a reflection of who the students are individually. And they also move the students forward toward their postgraduate goals. So in developing both programs and projects, we use the national milestones as our guiding document. And because of this, we ensure that our students explore key social and emotional learning competencies, such as goal setting, building resiliency, reflecting on their personal and academic growth, and building strong communication and presentation skills. Community partnerships play a large role in this because our partners mentor our students. They engage the students in community issues. They teach them problem-solving skills. And most importantly, they help them build these really positive relationships beyond the classroom into the community with adults around them. Want to say anything else about the partnerships with the...
Sure. Yeah. And so we rely heavily on our community partnerships. RFK has built community partners um, throughout the South Valley and greater Albuquerque. And that's really helped us dig in with kids to get them out in the community, to help them learn from adults in the community what they're, and kids having community issues that they would like to study and become a part of. So that's really embedded in our capstone curriculum, the second half of their work. So our partnerships are really valuable to us. We have them on campus and, like I said, throughout greater Albuquerque. And it's really helped the kiddos become leaders within their own right.
So none of this would work if our students didn't have a voice in the projects and the process and choices in how and what they focus on. So in capstone, this comes in the form of picking their passion projects, something that they're deeply connected to, because they will be working on it for a really long time. They spend quite a bit of time on them. In the digital portfolio, the students were from part of the planning of those from the very beginning. It was our students that created our profile of a graduate, the 9 indicators that students are reflecting on how they are meeting as our promise to the community. In addition, they get a template for the digital portfolio, but the students really get to choose how they fill that template out, what goes in there, the type of information they put in there. So it becomes really their own work, and it really showcases their individuality. Of course, we're a school first and foremost, and so we have to ensure that we meet our high rigorous academic standards, and these 2 projects really do. For example, capstone includes learning about the community issues. They pick one after they have gone to through a series of community cafes. They pick an issue that they are very passionate about, and they really dig down deep into that issue to look for the root causes of the issue in the community and look at solutions that have been offered and why those solutions may or may not have worked. And they research and write a college level research paper. So this is an entry level paper, like freshman level. And then we make sure to build in a lot of presentation to the staff and peers. And then finally, they create a direct or an indirect action project to address the issue. Digital portfolios include examples of their academic work, including all of their core classes and their electives. And we also ask them to look to the future by including their resumes, a checklist, and a step-by-step guide to how they are going to meet their future goals. So they identify those goals and then put down a list of things that they're going to do to meet them. And they highlight the classes that are helping them get where they want to go. The last part of the digital portfolio is that the students do have to defend that digital portfolio, and then they have to take part in an exit interview at the end of their defense. And those questions were created using the milestones as well. Oh, okay, so I'm just going to let you listen to one of the students talking about the work that she did in capstone. And this came directly from her exit interview after she had defended her digital portfolio.
Okay. Tell me about a service project, a service learning project that you've participated in. What local challenge did it address, and what impact did it have on you and the community?
Well, I'm currently participating in my capstone project, which I partnered up with Brian Brown from the Roadrunner Food Bank, and I have researched more about food insecurity, and mainly here in Albuquerque and how it is affecting the community. And the this semester I have now put in work, actually participated in the food drives to help with the community. And I will be giving out presentations soon to bring more awareness to the issue, and hopefully people that are in need will be directed to the Roadrunner Food Bank so they know where they can get the help.
And how has it changed you personally?
I think it has given me a new point of view to understand people that go through it. Because one thing that I have noticed is that not many people realize it's an issue until they have actually gone through it or someone really close to them has told them about it. But a lot of people don't know about this issue and they don't find it important. So I think working with Brian has helped me realize like how much everything they do has helped the community. For example, in the Roadrunner Food Bank, they in their warehouse they help employ people that have been to prison, that they have had problems with the law, so they give them jobs. They also have saved a lot of food that usually gets dumped at the border because a lot of grocery stores they don't accept it. So it has really changed my point of view, how I see what they do in the food bank.
Excellent answer. Good job.
What personal and life goals have you set for yourself?
All right, so that's just one of our students that and the work that they did. And so there are others on this slide, as well as some other quotes from students and how this has impacted them beyond our school when at their work in college. Sorry, let me get to the next slide. I have to. Here we go. All right. So career exploration is another piece of the work, and students begin exploring career pathways in the 9th grade. And by the time they're 16, they're taking dual enrollment courses with our partners from CNM and UNM. Some of those courses are taking place on our campus and some of them at the colleges themselves. And they continue to build career-related skills throughout their high school careers, which is shown in their digital portfolio. And they do this through our advisory classes, our core classes, capstone, and also through their extracurriculars. All of this work is driven by our relationships with our students, knowing our students and understanding their individual needs. Digital portfolios are the ultimate celebration of that because they celebrate student individuality. As one of our former students put it, we were talking to her in her exit interview. We asked her to compare doing the digital portfolio as an assessment as opposed to, say, the ACT or the SAT. And she said, you know, a test is just a bunch of questions. They don't really get to know you as a person, but a digital portfolio really shows who I am, what I like, and what's important to me. I'm going to let Cindy talk about the design team a little bit.
So my charge has been to work with our student design team and the history, a little bit of history behind that. We've been working with Michelle, Jerry, and Maria for over 4 years. So that's one of the partnerships that I appreciate so greatly. Their work in helping me design this has been incredible and has led to so much student growth and just RFK's culture as a whole. The student design team is known throughout the school. The kids that participate in it and they're selected for it really hold that with very high value. And like I said, so we started, it's been 4 years. I think we started just right as COVID was hitting. So we were in the processes working with Annie Casey and getting that all started. So so the purpose of it, of course, was to impact on-track career success. And the deeper purpose was to co-create prototypes to better connect all high school students with post-secondary pathways. And a little bit about building the design team. And I know it's different for each school and how we select our kids and how we work with a team and grow it. But RFK in building our design team, and we select a diverse group of students that represent student subgroups across grade levels, providing opportunity for mentorship, friendship, and thought partnerships to co-design systems or systems of improvement here at RFK. Our students have met bi-weekly. We've never had a lack in our student design team. It's been concurrent for the past 4 years. So we've sustained it, which is, I think, a really important fact that a lot of schools don't get that time to really have something grow and become so important over the process of years. So I'm very proud of that fact and our continuation to do that. So we lead the students, it's like bi-monthly, with an adult co-designer by way of the liberatory design. The importance of growing a collaborative and cohesive team using empathy interviews, team and school peers and staff. We interview the whole staff. So the design team reaches out to the whole school community, which I think is a really important aspect, from the administrators down to all the kids at the school, the janitors, the EAs, everybody. The whole school is designed to be a part of that system. So we begin the process. We begin to ideate a system, within the community, and we identify a challenge and begin to build a prototype. We test it, plan it, and reiterate it over and over, and continue testing it, and the kids refine their work. And so the kids learn how to do the measurement of the data, right? So they're conducting surveys, they conduct interviews, they work in focus groups, they do root cause analysis. And of course, like I said earlier, they're constantly reviewing the data that they're studying. Some of the highlights and the projects that they've worked on throughout the 4 years: they've built college and career days. They were instrumental in developing our profile of a graduate and implementing the milestones into the profile of a graduate. The digital portfolio as well. They worked with the group and with Lori to design using the milestones. They took the questions out to implement and put them into their digital portfolios. They also worked on their Washington project. So we've been lucky enough to go to Washington for 2 years in a row with a redesign team to reimagine schools, right? And ask those big questions. What if, what would a school look like? And so the kiddos worked with to do a project on connectedness and belonging, what that looks like in our school and in our community. They've done a project on Shadow Day. They were very interested in learning about 8th graders transitioning into 9th grade and what that looks like, and how they can help their peers have a better transition into high school and continue to mentor them throughout the high school. And currently, our design team is working on an attendance initiative. I would imagine, like the rest of the schools in the state and nationally, we're all coming to the knowledge that our attendance is really at an all-time low, and the chronic absenteeism rate. So our kids are really interested. They're doing a deep dive on root cause analysis to why our kiddos aren't coming to school. What are the barriers that their families, their communities, and what they're facing? So they're getting ready to develop their prototype moving forward. So that's just a snapshot. So thank you.
All right, so I'm just going to end on this note. Personal relationships are super important with our students, and helping to build them up and to give them the courage and the strength that they need to go out into the world. And so I wanted to just highlight that, like, through our capstone program, we build a lot of relationships with staff, and not just with me as the capstone teacher, but with our entire staff through our consultancy work. They also build these great relationships with community members. But the one that has really been special to me is to see the relationships that they have built with their peers. Last year's class, I had more than 50 students and 30 projects going on. And I saw these kids come in and support one another to get their papers done, their projects done. I saw partnerships form that I would never have expected. Kids get together to put their projects together. And these friendships have followed them out of the school. Many of them are going to college together and into careers together. So the relationship piece of this is super important. And I think it's a deep reflection on what is going on here at the school and what these programs can do for students. And that's it. Thank you guys for your time. I appreciate it.
Do we have any questions that we wanted to give just a few minutes for the team from RFK? Okay. You can put them in the chat. We can check there also. So without further ado, let's hear from Mark Armijo Academy from their Executive Director, Sean Morris, and Melissa Santana, the Innovation Coordinator on Internships and Work-Based Learning. And can you guys share your screen?
Yes. Can you guys see that?
Yeah, you gotta go back a few slides, Melissa.
There we go.
So thank you. We wanted to introduce ourselves first. My name's Sean Morris. I'm the Executive Director at Mark Armijo, and
I'm Melissa Santana, the Innovation Coordinator.
today we're going to talk about work-based learning and some of the opportunities that we provide. Not we as, I guess we as a school, but really in conjunction with working with our students, working with community, provide to our young adults, or our, I call them kiddos still. Mark Armijo Academy is a small charter. We have about 220 students. We are in the South Valley of Albuquerque, New Mexico. We work with brand new ninth graders that come through our door, but a large portion of the students that we work with are students that are seeking other opportunities, students that are re-engaging with the school system and trying to get back into it, and students that are really just looking for a school that provides agency, belonging, and connectedness. A lot of our students come from trauma-affected homes. They're raised by grandparents, non-traditional. Some are raised by brothers and sisters. So again, a lot of our students are that non-traditional student. And what we try to do when we get them here at Mark Armijo is really empower them through trust and giving them leadership opportunities. Again, a lot of our students are looking for that agency, belonging, and connectedness that many traditional schools do not provide. We try to provide that by providing them voice, giving them voice and choice, letting them design sometimes how their education looks, which includes flexible scheduling so that they can go out and do these, participate in these internships and these work-based learning opportunities. It looks different no matter the student that we're talking about. But again, we're trying to really get them into the school, show them that they belong, show them, connect with them, develop relationships with them, and then really empower them to be leaders and ambassadors, so that they can go out and make a difference in the community.
So, of course, with our work-based learning and what we do here at the school is, of course, we're focusing on the academic and school success experience for our students. So we also here at Mark Armijo provide students with the student digital portfolios, our senior capstones, and in this year, we are expanding into our individualized learning plan that is inspired through our graduate profile. In order to create all these different types of components for our students, we had to use our students' voice to create a lot of these projects because kind of like I explained to the students when I'm speaking to them is I come from a completely different era in education where when I would go to the library, I would have to go to a course catalog and then use the Dewey Decimal System to try to find a book that I needed to read. Whereas they can use AI and bloop, bloop, populate and it comes up. So we needed to hear the voices of our students to be able to understand how to create programs where the students were going to be successful and it's going to be beneficial to them to be able to, you know, propel forward and be able to move into post-secondary life, whether it be career technical trades, it can be college, it can be working, entrepreneurship, any way that they want to go, but we want to try to help them as much as we can here at our school. And then our learning culture is through motivation and experiences and life skills. So when students come up to me and they're looking for an internship, of course, it's looking at their grades, looking at how they're doing behavior-wise. And if a student has an F, doesn't mean that we're going to completely say, nope, you can't do an internship. They'll come in as kind of like a grace period. Okay, I'll set you up. We'll send you for an interview and we'll kind of see how it goes. We'll do minimal hours. And then as your grades increase, we'll increase your hours. So it kind of gives them that motivation to want to be able to improve their grades so that they can earn money and then they can earn skills. But then they also start networking with their community and they start building those because it helps them to write a resume that says, I was able to do this skill, I have this person I worked with. And so the students then start feeling the sense of like, I can do it. I can go out there, I can meet new people, I can succeed. And so it starts building their confidence. So for us, we've been seeing that that's a great motivator for a lot of our students. But then as well as sometimes our community partners, of course, are more so like, this is the job force, this is the workforce, this is the expectation, X, Y, and Z. And so then I kind of go in there as well and support our community partners to remind them that they are students still, they're working at our school, and they do need some skills that's going to be able to help them to succeed. So if that means me going to the community partner site and kind of like evaluating the student, looking at the student, and then talking with the community partner and then talking with the student to bridge that partnership so that the student and the community partner can understand where that like disconnect could have been. It's always working with the students and standing by the students to make sure that they can be successful. And a lot of the times our community partners are thankful for that because it reminds them that these are our young students and they are still learning how to be young adults. So right here, once again, still our students are still able to participate. Let's say they do have their good grades, but then they start slipping because they have too many hours with their community partner. Then I will go ahead and reduce those hours until grades go up. I sit down with students and I talk with them and have a heart-to-heart conversation with them regarding a lot of these skills. And I do check their grades if they are on this portion of the internship, and meet with them, meet with the teachers, see what we can do and how we can build up the student so that they can be successful in their workforce. A lot of our requirements are our students that are in any internship do our vector trainings. So what does sexual harassment look like? Because that is something we're putting them in the workforce. So they need to know what that looks like. Bloodborne pathogens. What does that mean? How to take care of themselves in the event that something does happen at one of these internships. Background checks. If they're working with the youth, we make sure that all of our students have a background check to make sure that it is going to be a safe environment for all. If students are going to be working in our cafeteria, we make sure that they have their food handler certification so that they're doing everything that's health regulations. So we really want to set up our students the best that we can to be successful in any internship that we offer them or work-based learning opportunity.
And like Melissa said, I mean, number one goal is really just making sure that our students are successful in those opportunities. And sometimes they learn from positive experiences, sometimes they learn from negative experiences. But we really just want them to be successful overall, and really for them to start to decide for themselves, like, this is something that I could do for a lifetime maybe, or I thought I was interested in this, maybe not so much. And sometimes it's just getting them out there into that workforce so that they can just experience multiple different places that we have internships at. So really it's getting them outside. Like I like to say, a lot of times, a lot of our students don't get outside of a 5-mile radius of our school. So this opportunity shows them that there's more out there in the world that they can latch on to, maybe start that fire. Because basically the goal for us is to get our students not just surviving, but thriving. Moving into community partners are a very important part of this piece of the puzzle of making sure that we have internships or work-based learning opportunities for our students to go out and experience. So really, and we're a community school, so that's the other thing about Mark Armijo that I don't think I mentioned previously. We're a community school. We do follow the 6 key strategies of community schools. And one of those is working with community partners. And sometimes those community partners are placements for our work-based learning. Sometimes those are community partners that come in and provide additional education. But again, we're always open to sitting down with different groups, different partners, seeing how this partnership can be mutually beneficial. So that, you know, in the end, again, we're looking for partnerships that help our students to thrive and not just survive. But the partners are a foundation of the work-based learning that we do here at Mark Armijo, and the foundation of a community school and one of the community school strategies. When it comes to the work-based learning opportunities, we've provided a number of opportunities. Some of these come through conversations with students. Some of these come with conversations through partnerships. Ultimately, we bring everything together so that we're not just putting students in an opportunity that they may have no interest in, or we're not, you know, matching students with an opportunity that we think is interesting. Because I think a lot of times as adults, we think this would be cool, or they would like this, and we're totally off. So really, I mean, I think part of this again is giving students voice and agency so that they can design their learning so that it works for them. Like Melissa said, I'm from a different era when it comes to education, but I feel like when I was going through school, very disconnected. And that's what we don't want for our students. We want them to be very connected to their learning and very connected to the outcomes of their learning. Some of the work-based learning opportunities that have been provided here at Mark Armijo have been group internships. So we work with a program called Latinos in Action, entrepreneurship group internships. We're the senior capstone, Educators Rising. Those are all group internships where sometimes it is a group of like 10 or 15 students that work with an outside organization through a class. Sometimes it's a class that we design so that it's a whole semester. Sometimes it's maybe 10 events or 10 periods where this outside organization comes in. They have a curriculum that they've been working on or they want to refine, and they work with our students. Again, our students have voice, they provide feedback, they participate in those internships. They're a little more directed, those group internships, compared to maybe the work-based learning opportunities that are out at one of our partners. For instance, I want to say New Mexico Early Learning Academy. Our students go there and they learn how to work in early childhood. And again, it is directed, but they go as an individual or two, and it's a little different than those group internships. We also provide work-based learning opportunities on campus, and right next door with our community center. We are a partner of Alamosa Community Center, so we provide some work-based learning opportunities right here on campus, because we also understand that some of our students don't have the ability to travel across the city or even to go 10 miles from the school. So we want to provide our students with opportunities here on campus as well. So we do have a Youth Conservation Corps YCC program. We also do some near peer tutoring, which is a cool program where the kids that are interested in working in education or maybe becoming a teacher or working in early childhood, they tutor young individuals at the community center. The past 2 summers, they've tutored I think it's really K through 10 and the summer program at the community center. So we provide those opportunities that are either on campus or right next door, so that our students that don't have transportation can still participate in some of these opportunities.
And then just to add a little bit more detail, so our group internships, we do provide each student with a contract of their expectations of learning deliverables, attendance, participation that they need to contribute into. And then a timesheet is given to each student where the student signs it and the teacher signs it, indicating that those learning deliverables were completed. And that attendance is either at 90%, 80%, and so forth. And then based on that is how we would provide a stipend to our students for the work that they've completed and the level of engagement they have. So the first year that or first semester we tried that, pays weren't as high for some of the students, the stipend pay. The next semester, we saw that go up a lot because the students were like, I thought I was getting X amount. I said, if you read the contract, and that's why reading our contracts is important, it says it's up to. So you had to be able to complete X, Y, and Z. And then students were like, oh, so the next round, we saw an increase in engagement. The same thing for our work-based learning students. I provide students a semester worth of hours that is what their hours are going to be for them to be able to work. And I provide that to our community partner and to our student so that we're all on board as to when the student is going to be attending their internship, how many hours it looks like. And then as well as a timesheet is turned into me in case a student was absent and couldn't come. But then also our work-based learning students are also given a job description of what it is that they're going to be doing at their community partner site, so that the community partner doesn't just kind of, because I've seen it happen in the past at other schools where they're just doing clerical work and they're not actually doing engagement in a community, in their internship. So it's really laid out for the community partner and the student that this is the expectation that they're going to have when they're at their community partner site. Some of the pathways that we have for post-secondary preparation is our educators, educatorizing. That's a new CTE pathway that we have now here at Mark Armijo. So students are going to be engaged in so many different courses per semester and per school year for preparing to be educators. They'll be able to go to different events and present their work to other partnerships and other schools. Our early childhood partnership that we have with New Mexico Early Learning Academy is all of our students that have graduated us, that were seniors and we're doing internships there. Once they've graduated, that placement then actually hires them on as full-time employees. Each year it has happened. And so they earn their early childhood certification. Agriculture is through our YCC program. So our students are exposed to, water irrigation. They're looking at planting, understanding tree health. So it exposes them to a whole different world of what it looks like to work with your hands and outside in nature. Bilingual education is another CTE program that we're offering here for a lot of our students that are bilingual, and so they can start earning their bilingual seal. Wellness and health is another program that we've added in, where here on campus we have opened up a gym. One of our classrooms was converted into a gym, so students are able to go there, do weightlifting, learn about, and then take additional health classes to understand why maybe vaping is wrong, or not wrong, but bad for your health, and how the implications of that and so forth. Public safety is another CTE program that we've opened up here. And so talking about what it looks like to be a cop, and what do you do there? What are detectives? What are the different level of work? Another program that we work with is through APS, Albuquerque Public Schools, is our CEC program. And so we have some students there that are taking nursing classes, digital marketing, vet tech. And through this, I do create another contract that the students have to meet these certain learning deliverables in order to earn a stipend to participate in these programs. Because a lot of times students were signing up for the programs, and they're great programs, but then they were kind of not fully committed to completing it. So once we started offering stipend work through this, we started seeing more engagement and students being able to complete the program. Oh, did I miss one? No, sorry. And then, so with that, our graduate profile work was created with all stakeholders. So it was our board members, our teachers, community partners, and then of course our students. That's who we needed to hear this from, to know what skills it is that they need to be able to graduate with to be successful in the real world. And so the themes that emerged were financial stability and independence, personal growth and self-improvement, happiness and fulfillment, family, community support, kindness, respect, and relationships, and then resilience and perseverance. And the main one that I remember sticking out is the students wanted to know, how can I be resilient once I graduate? Because I know everything is competitive. Going into college is competitive. Trying to get a job is competitive. What do I do? How can I be able to build myself up so that I can be the person that gets that, so that I can do it? Or what can I do so that it doesn't necessarily make me feel like, well, gosh, they didn't want me. So what skills can you guys give me to help me build that? And so I thought that was really insightful, because that's what students wanted to know, is how can I be successful out there in the real world? And then, so this is our Johns Hopkins redesign team. And I know year one was student agency, and
Oh, do you want me to take over here?
oh, sure.
Okay. Yeah, so we've been, just like RFK, we've had the privilege to be working with Johns Hopkins and Everyone Graduate Center for in our student redesign projects, and it's just been an amazing experience on so many levels. The actual work is just a byproduct of everything else that the kids have gained from it. Our first year, yes, was on agency, and we also wanted to focus on attendance. And really quickly, we started talking to the kids about agency and what it meant and how they needed to have it. And then we realized that they didn't even know what agency meant or what having agency meant. So then we took a pivot and we focused our project around teaching kids about having a voice and having choice and having agency and advocacy. And we ended up creating a zine to showcase that and showcase the learning that the students had. Last year, we focused on post-secondary preparation. in a project on community connectedness. And not only just tapping into community assets, but creating those community assets and connections with places that you might not consider an asset, like a tire shop or the meat market, you know, and how those community partners and assets can connect us to our own community and become assets and aid in our own personal growth. And so this year we're getting started slowly, and we're excited. And yeah, just like RFK said, just so many benefits. Just these students, we saw them bloom into public speakers, and they became leaders of the school. And now I see them all of them, and from both years, being reached out to and being given more opportunities and being chosen to speak at school board meetings and being chosen to sit on advisory committees and advisory boards. So it's been a really, really beautiful process. So we're super thankful, and we're super grateful to Michelle and all the work she does, and Linda and everyone else, Maria and everyone else too. So, and this was just a little bit of work from our first year. Just what does agency mean? We also did empathy interviews and some shadowing and swaps with teachers. And so that was really, really important. And then the next slide is just a little bit from our last year, and just creating assets and creating community connections to help us in our future. And hopefully they come back to the community and serve because they see the value in that. That's all I have.
Yeah, so this last one, and I know we're running low on time, was just, so we had to go up for charter renewal last night in our district. And one of our goals just moving forward, because of this work that we've taken on, and the schools really thrive because of this work, is really to create a mission-specific goal that is related to agency, belonging, and connectedness. And really it's to enhance those three areas as we move forward for the next 5 years, and really, you know, increase the amount of students that feel agency, the amount of students that feel connected to the school, and the amount of students that feel belonging. And that's one of our goals moving forward as a charter mission specific goal, so that we can really kind of determine if we're on track, if we're really doing what we need to do as a school, and really connecting with the kids in a way that we feel is beneficial. And we just want to thank you all. And we can always email questions. If you have questions, we can always answer those questions, or even if we don't get to it today, you can always email us. And we would be happy to answer any questions that you have, share any information or materials that we have, so that you can do what you feel you need to do at your school, or maybe get a program going. We're always happy to help and provide what we've learned, and pitfalls and valleys, but also the heights of hitting the mountain, those types of things.
Thank you, Melissa and Sean. Do we have any questions? Do we have time for questions?
And I don't think Mika introduced herself, but Mika, do you want to introduce yourself real quick?
Sure. I'm Micaela Trujillo, Marco Mijo Academy. Been here several years under several different hats. So I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, hi everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Brian DeFoni. I'm the Vice President of Programs at the Philadelphia Education Fund. This was really awesome. And I had a quick question that I put in the chat, but I was just curious about what the school's vetting process is for community partners. Sean, you had mentioned about the importance of it being mutually beneficial, and I think that's a critical aspect of that. And so how do you as a school kind of vet what that community partnership looks like? And then how do you go about, if it isn't necessarily working, how do you have that difficult conversation if the student isn't necessarily feeling set up for success, whether it's from the community partner, the agency standpoint or the school standpoint? Just kind of curious, because I feel like that can be very time consuming and very overwhelming when you start to think about building partnerships like that with community-based organizations outside of the school setting.
Yeah, so it is initially it's just having conversation, developing relationships with the organizations. It's not even probably even discussing what a work-based learning opportunity might look like. It's really just kind of having conversations about maybe some of the programming and what it does look like at Mark Mijo, and then kind of seeing, hey, would that be something you'd be interested? Then it becomes a little more in detail. That's when Melissa starts talking to them about the ins and the outs. We have had a situation where we provided an opportunity at a tattoo parlor. And we thought like this is what one of the students wanted to do. They want to be a tattoo artist. We had multiple conversations with that tattoo parlor. Once we placed that student in that opportunity, things I wouldn't say necessarily went south, but things weren't up to our standard per se, and the student wasn't getting what they thought they were going to get out of the experience as well. So we had a conversation with them, just saying, you know, with this student, it really just didn't work out per se. But we also kind of talked to them about things that maybe in the future, because we also didn't want to necessarily cut them off totally. We wanted them to be able to say, this is the feedback that we got from our student. This is the feedback that we want you to have, so that in the future, if we have this sort of partnership, we all can learn from it. I think a lot of this is just like learning, in truth, been learning as we go. I mean, we went 0 to 60 in 2 years. It was basically trying things out, seeing if it works, using that whole design theory, like methodology, like seeing if things work and then pulling back if maybe not, but then trying something different. But ultimately, right, like there is that mutual beneficial partnership, because when we send a kid to the New Mexico Early Learning Academy, the goal for them is actually to hire them when they're done, if they succeed, so that they have a pipeline of early educators. So I think both parties have to figure out what that looks like, but that's through a lot of different conversations. And yes, it is time consuming.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much for that response.
And then just to kind of piggy off that is, I do meet with each community partner offsite at their location. I speak to them, let them know the expectation, what it looks like, that I would be doing an interview session with the student and the community partner to make sure it is a good fit, that the student does feel like there is a good kind of chemistry going there, and for the community partner. And I let the student know that, and the community partner, because maybe that's something that the student wants to do, but then gets there and sees the actual layout of the place and realizes like, that's not really something I feel like I can do. And I let the community partner know, like, you know what, the student just really wasn't feeling it, but I'll find another student. Thank you. And so it has happened where students do tell me that, like, I don't feel like that's where I want to go. And I'm like, okay, that's not a problem. Let's find somewhere that you feel like you're going to succeed. So it's always making sure that I make sure that the student feels confident and comfortable going where they're going. And then as well as meeting the community partner, doing visits and making sure everything is going well. And then conversing with the students on campus, like, hey, how's it going? How are things going? Please let me know. Like, I'm your person. So if something's going on and you don't feel like you're being heard, or you feel like you're being respected at a place, let me know and I will step in. I'm your voice. And then I teach them how to approach different situations from there, so that they can start learning these skills.
Thank
So,
you, Brian,
thank
for
you.
that question. That was a really good question. And thank you, Melissa and Sean. So if we can move on to our Grand Cibola County schools. So coming live to you from Cibola County are our students from Early College High School, Laguna Acoma High School, and Grants High School.
Guys. Can everyone hear us all right? Okay, lovely. Well, welcome everybody. I hope you're all having a super great day, and we're super excited to show you what we've been working on for the Hopkins design team. We spent a lot of time working on this, so we hope you're going to enjoy our presentation about our profile of a graduate. So next slide, please. So let's just do a quick introduction. I'll go ahead and kick this off. There are far more students in the design team, but we were chosen to represent them in this meeting. So I'm Joel Small. I'm 17. I'm from Grants High School. I've been in this design team for about 3 years now, and I want to go into environmental politics when I'm older.
I'm Cassandra Condon. I'm 17 and I also attend GCCS. A little bit more about me. I've also been in this design team for 3 years. I am a senior this year and I want to go to college for environmental conservation.
Hello, everyone. My name is Sebastian Pino. I am 18 and I'm a senior that goes to Laguna Acoma High School. This is my first year on the design team, and after high school, I hope to continue my education with either a college or a trade school, but I'm happy to be here.
Hello, my name is Dana Lucero. I am 18. I go to Laguna Acoma High School. I am a senior there. I've been on the design team for 3 years. What I want to do after high school is I want to get my further education either in nursing or welding.
All right. So I'm just going to discuss our content, what we're going to have in this slide real quick. So we're going to start with our student process, how we get decisions made. And then we'll go ahead and go to our accomplishments, which include our survey engagement and our national milestones. Then we'll talk about some of our future goals, and then you guys can ask questions at the end.
Our student process. Our student process, the Johns Hopkins design team believes in uplifting the voices of students.
Next slide, please. Sorry.
Consulting those most impacted by the creation of the profile of a graduate. While input from adults is certainly helpful, we prioritize students, allowing them to have more of an input on their future. Monthly meetings. Roughly every month, we get students from across the district to meet up for a design session, a meeting used to work on our portrait of a graduate. With this time, we plan focus groups and decide on the skills and ideals we as students believe a graduate should have. Equal input. As a group of students, we want to make sure every member of our team is allowed to get their thoughts and ideas into our final project. Anytime we are adding anything to our national milestone or other projects, we always make sure to ask for any suggestions. We value the many unique ideas that our peers bring to the table, and by creating a safe atmosphere for questions, we receive fully realized final product. Focus groups. Another huge focus for us is constructing surveys and focus groups for community input. Every student constructs ideas for these groups or surveys, and we have found a lot of positive results from this method. For every choice we make on our profile of a graduate, we make sure to factor everyone's diverse experiences to ensure fair decisions. Accomplishments. Over the past 3 years, we have accomplished a lot. Our two most successful endeavors have been our surveys and our national milestones. We would like to cover some highlights of our achievements as well as show what we have discovered.
Survey engagement. Survey engagement. We created and distributed 40 surveys for our
Next slide, please.
influential groups for our profile of a graduate, which are teachers, students, parents, and community. Our student survey focused on school reputation, future outlooks, trust in the school environment. This has given us a lot of information, including the sad results that roughly 20% of our students felt uncomfortable expressing themselves in a school setting. Influencing the social aspect include the profile of a graduate. The student isn't only one responsible for their education, so we turn to their parents. The parent survey questions focus on the subjects such as parental expectations, trust in the quality of education, and also the communication between parents and the schools. Our survey found that while the parents trust the education their children are receiving, many feel as if they lack of communication influencing their final product. Teacher survey. The teacher survey focused on mostly classroom environment, emotional connection to students, teachers' commitment to their roles. This survey revealed that the responsibilities of a teacher extended beyond academics, and almost every educator builds connections with their students. Our final product reflects that students' bonds with teachers should be encouraged to develop the students academically and beyond. Community focus groups. Unlike our previous surveys, our community focus group was conducted in person with notable attendees such as the mayor and the district head. Questions asked focused on skills that should be learned in high school. We discovered that many people in our community expect many skills of graduates that are often not taught in schools directly, such as self-awareness, interpersonal skills, and adaptability. This has been a huge factor of our profile of a graduate and has caused the emphasis on both academic and non-academic skills. The key takeaways in our surveys and focus groups, a strong sense of cultural pride in students were identified, and strengths like mutual support were seen as important. Practical life skills were emphasized as a priority to the community, and communication was important to all participants.
National milestones.
Can we go forward a little bit in the slides to national milestones,
Oh.
please? Okay, thank you.
And next slide.
Sorry.
All right, national milestones. Our national milestones have helped us construct the profile of a graduate and have been an important part of our process. We have identified a list of skills and values in our student success team that every graduate should have to ensure their own success. While some are commonly pushed subjects in schools, we found that many of them were values and skills that were rarely identified as focuses for graduates in their common courses. Asset-based mindset. An asset-based mindset is a way of thinking that focuses on the strengths of individuals and communities instead of the shortcomings. This style of thinking is what drove the development of our national milestones. And we believe that the adoption of this mindset by students, teachers, and the community will foster an environment of empowerment. Some strengths identified for the Cibola County District include being a tight-knit community filled with caring people who are proud of our region. And, sorry, next slide. All right. And as an area of diversity with such pride for our region, cultural elements are extremely important in both our communities and in helping the students connect to themselves and their heritage. By exposing students to a wide range of other cultures, we hope to nurture a respect for others' beliefs and traditions. Cultural elements identified in the Grant-Cibola County School District include things such as diversity, integrity, loyalty, and resilience. There we go. Our core values that we identified are altruism, balance, commitment, confidence, and respect. While students should be encouraged to be themselves without a doubt, a set of positive core values acts as a guiding principle to encourage decisions that better both our students and their communities. A wide range of core values are positive for growth, and this is the main core, in fact, of our profile of a graduate that we developed. Along with our core values are our skills and competencies. Teaching fundamental skills to students are a crucial step to improving themselves inside and out of school. We identified the following as the most important skills for our students to develop. These skills are setting goals, time management, delegation, and building relationship. These skills will improve the academic, social, and civic growth of our students. Next slide, please. Thank you. So our skills and competencies identified line up with the skills we previously established as important and our core values. These competencies are an important part of building student skills and improving themselves. So skills such as setting goals works hand in hand with competencies like responsibility, delegation, and leadership also work together in tandem.
Next slide, please. Okay, so for future goals, we all believe that our design group has already done a lot of good, and we want to keep helping out our community and education system through student voices. So we have a few ideas of what we want our future to look like, as well as a few products to tidy up before we move on. We need to finish our poster for a profile of a graduate, which is currently in the works, and we are attending a forum on the 19th to talk about our work here. So that includes all of the things that we've done, including the profile of a graduate, our national milestones, and other things that we spend a lot of time on. For some future projects, we want to work with the district to enact some policies related to our profile of a graduate. So this will place a focus on the national milestones, which in turn will help students succeed. We also want to emphasize that our profile of a graduate is a living document. So despite our hard work, we aren't perfect, and there might need to be some changes made to make the profile as best as it possibly can be. As a living document, future students can contribute to the profile and improve it when necessary. And lastly, we're aiming for a wider adoption of our profile of a graduate. We strongly believe that if implemented, the profile of a graduate can make us stronger students in and out of school. Making the profile of a graduate widely accessible and used could strongly improve every student, from students who begin work right after graduation to college students earning their degrees. We've put tons of effort into the profile of a graduate, and we're super confident in what we've produced. And that is all we have to show for you guys today. Is there any questions?
Ask a question.
Oh, yes, completely.
I'm curious about like the intersection of the work-based learning and the profile of a graduate, and if there are ways any of the schools are thinking about, you stated these aspirations, and the notion is that in the work-based learning, students are developing some of these skills that you've identified as critical. Are there ways that you're like trying to track, are these actually being developed in the work-based learning, and how are you doing that? And if any of the students are able to speak to, like, for your own just intrinsic sense, while you're in the work-based learning, how do you feel about whether you're progressing towards these skills that you've articulated?
So currently, these are newly developed for our profile of a graduate. We want to create policies to work with our schools, our classes, our CTE teachers, of course, to develop these skills in their students. However, we have not had the ability to implement it quite yet. And that would be an excellent thing to work on, is to find a way to better track it within our programs.
Thank you.
All right, any additional questions?
I have a question about your focus groups. As you're talking to focus groups, is it always student-led? Did you ever have adults as part of the focus groups, or is it always questions coming directly from the students? And how does that help? Or sometimes do you feel like it would be better to have adults asking questions?
So everything we try to do with the Johns Hopkins design team, we try to make it student-led. A huge emphasis for our program is trying to make student voices matter. So for all of our surveys and focus groups and stuff like that, it's all led by students like us, including things like the surveys as well. We all get together during our monthly meetings and we discuss what we want to have for these questions. So like for the student, teacher, and parent surveys, we all thought of the questions. There was no adult input at all. That was just entirely our work. And for our focus group, we put together all the questions and then we also led it. We also had some help from Michelle, but there's been a very, very large amount of the work done was by us as students.
Any additional questions?
Well, if you get a chance, read the chat.
We can't.
Here, we might have to bring these.
There's not a whole lot of questions. There's just a whole lot of accolades for you guys. Nice job.
The vetting process
No,
for
that's
community. Okay, that's
is-
not us.
Yeah, that's not us.
Further down when they're talking about
Okay.
your presentation.
Oh.
Nice to hear from students. Those don't look like questions.
Yeah, we really appreciate that you guys enjoyed this. We spent, like I said earlier in the presentation, we spent a lot of time working on this. So, yeah, we're glad that you enjoyed it. And, we're going to still try to keep on making this program better and better. And hopefully it just improves from here on out. But, yeah, we're super happy to share what we had for you guys today. What grade levels are included in your student design team?
Oh, so our grade levels are 9 through 12th, so freshman through senior year. It's all conducted between our 3 separate high schools. We don't have any middle school or elementary school involvement.
However, we were kind of talking about this at the last meeting we have. We do want to start getting middle schoolers introduced to the program. We don't have anything set in stone for that right now, but we think that middle school perspectives are also super important on this, and also just improving or getting them more prepared for their future when they jump into high school and have to start worrying about like their GPA and stuff like that. Because I kind of see middle school as kind of a starting ground where students can understand what high school is going to be like and be ready when they get into there. And I don't think we've set up middle schoolers well enough to understand that as a concept. So I'd like to just, or we would like, sorry, I'm being a little selfish here. Yeah. But yeah, we'd like to spread our wings into middle schoolers just so we can start preparing them for high school so they can do the best they possibly can.
Yeah, and with his idea of setting up middle schoolers for success, ideally our profile of a graduate would not only apply to our high schools, but to our middle schools as well.
Do you see yourselves trying to do something like this in your college? I've talked about it a bit. Do one of you guys want to cover it?
All right. I mean, I would love to have an opportunity like this in my future college.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So, we're obviously focused on high schoolers because this is a super important group to get ready for the future, right? But this obviously starts before high school, like I was saying with middle schoolers, and it doesn't end at high school, right? There's still a lot of college graduates who have a lot of questions about their lives, how to set them up for success, skills they can learn to improve themselves, and just things like that. So we definitely think that this could be beneficial for different colleges and such. We haven't really discussed it in meetings per se yet, but that's actually a great thing to bring up, and we might start to hone in on that in future meetings because I genuinely think that expanding this to colleges could set up a bunch of more skills for college students. So yeah, thank you for bringing that up.
And it's always the idea to leave something better than when you found it. Who determines which students will be on the design team? All right, so I'm actually very familiar with this. So me and Joel and Fennell, yes, sorry, have been on the design team for all 3 years it's been in our district. And how we got into this design team, at least at Grants High School, was our teachers were asked to select their star students to participate in this. And since then, whenever one of us graduates as a senior, like my sister did last year, they are allowed to nominate one of the lower classmen to become part of our student design team.
All right. Do we have any additional questions? No. Yeah. But yeah, I'd like to say just thanks again for all of your positive words, right? This is obviously, we spent a lot of time on this, and this is our first time doing a slide and talk to people to this scale. So we just really appreciate all of your kind words, and we're hoping that we can, use the skills we learned from this to move ourselves forward, if that makes sense. So yeah, we really appreciate you guys.
Sorry, I'm sorry. Good job, guys.
So now that we've seen these examples in action, let's shift gears just a little bit. We know we're short on time, but we want to make sure you have the practical ideas you use that you can be able to use in your own schools. So we'll share a couple of resources and tools that are going to help you adapt these strategies to your context. So whether it's building internships, creating capstones, or developing a student design team, and you just saw a great example of that. So think of a playbook like your game plan, right? Except this one isn't just for the field, it's for the future of every student. We're excited to share our own OTCS playbook designed to guide schools in creating meaningful student-centered opportunities. It's laid out around our 4 key pillars: equity-focused, practical tools, partnership-driven, and evidence-based. The playbook is structured with 4 reoccurring themes throughout. It's an introduction, gives you the definition, ideas in action, some short stories, some ideas that we have, and some of our stories that have happened here in New Mexico. Even a section on how might you engage your team. This is like getting started. And then of course we have tools and resources, some PowerPoint examples, survey examples, and questions for you to use. Our next tool that we want to talk to you about is the heart of our project. You saw it today. It's co-designing with students. It's the paper that says co-designing with students that shows how to create spaces where students can bring their ideas to the table, drive system improvements, and gather insights and transform school outcomes. I'm going to turn this over to Greg so he can go over our website and how to access these tools for you, free of charge.
Great. Thank you, Michelle. And bravo to all the presenters for the great job that they did today. As I get myself to share the screen here. Can everyone see the site? Okay, I'm just going to run through this real quick. This is the warehouse, if you will, of where all the OTCS resources and tools Michelle mentioned. The milestones that we touched on are both readable and downloadable, free to use. This is the playbook right here. And then all the additional, you just click on these buttons to download and resource. And these are the additional resources that have been developed through the project, down here through the bottom, as well as a wonderful podcast with Sean Morris that we heard from I'm sorry, my whatchamacallit is from Marco Mijo. My mic is going crazy. That you can listen to as well. I'm going to, or I just did put the link to the website into the chat. You can check it out on your own time. And that's it for the website.
Thank you, Greg. If you haven't already and you want to be part of our email, please put your name and your email in the chat and we'll capture that because we have some opportunities that are upcoming. We have our Skills for Secondary Success virtual session that's coming on December 10th. This is a co-designed with teachers across the nation on those transition skills, right, that we talk about from elementary to middle to high school. It's used in advisory. It's a full-on curriculum with PowerPoints, everything you need for those transition, like organization skills and all of those pieces. If you're local and you want me to bring them to your school, I'm happy to do that. You can contact me. But if you want more information on that virtual session, there's the link for you. Another incredible opportunity that we're working on launching in January is our Student Connectedness Project. It's designed by students for students. We want students to help us really think about connectedness and building those activities and structures for our students. So more to come on that. Make sure you put your name in the chat so that we can send you the information and the announcement for that. With that, we'd like to thank you, our team that's here today, Jerry and Greg and Maria and Robert, Bob, Dr. Bob, like everybody likes to call him, Stacy. We have a bunch of people who have contributed to this awesome project here in New Mexico that is just spreading like wildfire. And we so thank you for being here today. We could not do this. We could not be a part of this without our partners who presented today. So Mark Armijo, RFK, Grant Cibola County Schools. We are so grateful to be in your presence and to see you grow and just to be a part of you. So thank you all so much for being here today.